this is gold. We should keep this in that's your final edit.
Yeah, definitely.
This is some of the best work we've ever done.
Yeah. It's the most enthusiastic I've been. And you're wasting it all. It's limited. It's a fuel tank. It's a very small fuel tank. And it's like pouring out the bottom at the moment, that fuel. It's just pouring out.
Right, three,
two, one.
Hello and welcome to the Ian and John podcast.
Brilliant, great start. You got to start again now.
I'm not starting it. We're live with that. We're going with it.
Brilliant,
Ian, welcome.
Okay.
Yeah,
welcome.
Your energy levels are through the roof. What have you been drinking before we started? Are you on some kind of high caffeine diet?
I thought it was sugar. Turns out it isn't.
What is it?
I don't know. I breathed it in.
Well, welcome everybody. If you're new to the podcast, then welcome. This is two good friends from the UK talking. Well, two people associated with one another from the UK.
We know of each other.
We've met. Talking about all things
Sadly.
EUC related, that kind of gubbins, and just generally having a bit of a laugh and a giggle. But if you're a long-time listener, then thank you so much for bearing with us. We have had a bit of a rocky start to 2022. It didn't go according to plan. We had a failed kind of technical issue that meant we aborted one of our... Well, it is the funniest episode I've ever done, and it never made it to air.
Jonathan didn't record the audio.
I made a complete mess of it.
I recorded the audio in two separate locations. Turns out that John recorded it in 0 locations.
Yeah, that's right. And then we got together a couple of weeks ago.
And it's like a one-handed clap when you've only got one side of the audio.
Yeah, it was a bit like that, yeah. It was like swimming in circles. I'm sorry about that. That was completely my fault. We got together last time, and have you listened back to the podcast from last time, Ian?
No.
Because
I waste enough time doing them, so...
You don't waste any energy listening to them back. Well, last time, you weren't well. You were proper poorly. We didn't make that clear.
Yeah.
And you normally... People have commented to me that... in fact, there's a guy called Jason Harris from Australia, an Australian listener. I'm going to come...
G'day, mates. Want to go for a spin in my ute?
That's it. He did say that I think Ian needs to relax a little. He does seem to take things a bit serious.
No, I don't.
No, you don't. But last...
Little joke there. Little joke. See what I did there? See what I did?
Last time, you were just struggling, trying not to cough all the time. And
struggling
I was
to breathe.
With you. It was like
what you couldn't see or hear is that if I raise my voice this much, it tickles right at my chest. I thought I am going to actually cough my guts up. So I had to try and speak like this and not breathe too much. So I kind of had to do that.
For me, it was like sitting in a doctor's waiting room. You were just coughing your lungs up, so we did a podcast last time. It was about 40 minutes long. I edited out all the pauses and the boring bits, and it went to air
5 minutes.
25 minutes.
Oh, 25 minutes. I was thinking 5. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And I was stretching that out to find good bits because neither of us were on our best form. But here we are, full of energy.
Here we are, princes of the universe. Name that.
I don't know. You've got an encyclopedic knowledge of really obscure artwork. And,
it's the dude that goes around cutting people's heads off. Gives you a hint. And he's immortal.
Highlander.
Yes!
Very good. Okay,
you win. Challenge John. Done. Next. Move on. Point 4.
We have got Challenge Ian coming up, and it is... I'm taking it to the next level with Challenge Ian, so I'm really looking forward to it this time. So stay tuned for that. Just going to say as well, on the podcast that was cancelled, that we recorded and then we didn't send to air, we did talk about actually moving these podcasts to fortnightly. So we were doing it every week, but from now on they're going to be fortnightly. But I'm going to put them out on YouTube as well. So... if people have got thoughts about that, concerns about that, would like us to do it weekly, then please get in contact with me.
Or monthly.
And I'll ignore them. Or monthly. Every 6 months. People have been contacting us because we've been off air for a little while. And I've received quite a few messages, people asking how we are, how you are, concerned, making sure we're okay, and saying they're big fans of the show and they want it to continue. So that's good. I'm happy with that.
Also fake.
It was all from me. Yeah. Set up lots of accounts recently in the last few weeks. Ian, what have you been doing? Anything exciting going on in your life? What's happening in the EUC world of Speedy Feet?
What have I been doing since the last podcast? I have been doing all sorts of things. Many of those involve sitting down at a desk and typing and looking at the screen. So, yeah. I just ordered today £75,000 worth of electric unicycles. That's quite exciting. So,
what have you got? What have you ordered?
None of your business. You have to wait and see, haven't you?
Well, people might be interested to know what's coming on the horizon.
What Speedy Feet got coming in? Yes. No, those are just for me. What Speedy Feet got coming in? Speedy Feet has got Commanders coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, which you'd be very interested. 3,000 watt hours, 3,600 watt hours. Mm-hmm.
Big beast.
Yep. Sherman Max.
Somebody asked on the video I put up last week on our ride across the hillsides, we're just confirming, was it the Sherman Max or was it the regular? It was the regular I was riding, the Sherman Max. What's the capacity in that?
All I heard was, what's a pasty?
What is the capacity? What is a pasty?
What is a capacity? It sounds a bit like pasty, actually, doesn't it? Yes, it does, yeah. What's the capacity? So the Sherman Max has got a different motor, and rather than the original battery set, it's got a 3,600 watt hours. So same as a Commander.
Yeah.
So it could see 100 miles possibly if you ride it sensibly. Then we've got the S20 on order. We got V5s, V5Fs, V8Fs, V10Fs coming in. InMotion V12, high torques coming in.
So the V10F, that is quite an old wheel now, isn't it? The V10F, it's been out for
after
quite a
still,
while.
yeah.
But it's still highly regarded. That's the V10 is the one that I really love that wheel.
Yeah, and you got one, didn't you?
Not quite, but it was honestly. I think it's one
I'm
of the.
sure you did, didn't it?
Yeah, I know. That was the one that we did the
that video. Yeah, we did the video on it. Did you say? Yeah. Perhaps you didn't. I just thought you said at the end you got it.
No. Anyway, but no, I do love that InMotion.
Strange.
V10. Yeah. Good.
To revisit that at some point.
Well, I think we have spoken about it on the podcast before.
Have we?
Clean. Yeah. You not only do you not go back and listen to them, once you finish them, you erase them from your memory.
Yes. Yeah. It's like running. What do they say when you run from? Is it RAM? You run from RAM rather than store it. It's just literally. It's not. I've memorised nothing. So when we do these podcasts, it's in and then immediately out. It's like a constant thing. Yeah. It's not even stored temporarily. No, there's no short-term memory on it at all.
Yeah. Well, shall I tell you what I've been doing since last time? You always ask. It's very kind of you. Thank you. I have been having a great time. I've put some miles on this last week or so. I rode into work and back. So I actually went. Do
you work from home?
From home, my house in Crawley, into the office, which is in Putney in London. So
how far is that?
It's 32 miles.
Is it?
And it's rode the whole way, and of course.
I should hope you did ride it the whole way.
Very good. Yeah, so I rode the whole way. I was going to get the train and then, or drive into London, to the edge of London, and then take it from there. But I just decided to go for it, and I absolutely loved it. That was on. I rode the EX.
Did you? Not the V12. The one you're supposed to be putting miles on, because I sort of lent it you, and I was the old videos. I seem to have forgotten that completely.
No. Yeah. I was. In fact, no, because I didn't have that with me at the time. I'd been down to yours, and I got the Sherman and the EX. There was the only wheels at my disposal. And then the following day, the next few days, I had to do the same thing again, but from Milton Keynes. So I did drive down to the edge of London, and then blasted down around London, and again I took the EX.
You got to do what are you doing? 1,000-mile review on 1,000-kilometre review on that, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's partly why, because we had to swap out the motor on that.
Wow, the background for that for anyone listening is, just to be completely clear, I did the 250 kilometre. I did the unboxing and the range test video, then did the 250 kilometre video, then I did the 650 kilometre video.
Thank you, very kind of you.
And I did a bit more, didn't I? What did you get, about 600?
No, I did the 650.
Yeah, you were with me when we were at 650, were you?
No, I did the 650 because that's when I did the video with the machine switched on, so it was doing that high-pitched whine that only
the machine the whole time, yeah. I gave it 620, didn't I?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then you took it off me, you bought it off me, didn't you? And then you rode it 10 kilometres and you broke the motor. Got it on video as well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So carry on. I just want to let people know that, by the way, it was fine until John rode it.
But I'm trying to stack some miles on it. Yeah, trying to stack some miles on it, because I think there's no point reviewing it at 1,000-kilometre review when it's on the new motor. It's only done like 300 kilometres. So I'm trying to put some proper miles on it. But I've also then I went out on Saturday and got the V12 out. Yeah, right. Glasses suit you.
Yeah, you look really funny in this. Well, look at you on this screen. You're actually clearer than I see you. It's bizarre.
That works well for the podcast media.
If you've ever got issues with your streaming and it goes pixelated, get a glass that you drink from when it's empty, obviously, because otherwise you get real wet, and then put it against your eye and it clears the image. John's face is perfect when I do that. Yeah,
you heard it here. John's face is perfect.
Yes.
Yes, I rode the V12 the other day, went out on that, did a range test, because I'm about to do the 650 kilometre review, so I thought I'd do a range test on it.
You're only at 650?
Shush. And how many miles do you think I got? How many have you done in yours? Mouth?
I did 820, didn't I?
Well, there you go.
In 3 weeks?
In 3 weeks, yeah.
Unbelievable.
So how many miles do you think I got on the V12? Riding it pretty quickly the whole way?
32.
35.75 or something. So, and that's down to 14%. When it got to the tipping back, I thought the fun ended there. So
there you go. It's not a bad guess, was it? See, I know the V12 because I've ridden 821 kilometres.
Good wheel. Right, I'm going to play as a jingle, Ian. This is I love this one. It's King of the Road.
Is it what?
Keeps trying to go live.
Hey, did you say you're playing a jingle?
Yeah.
Because I can't hear that jingle playing.
No, they can at the moment.
If you think it's playing, it's not playing.
No, it should be playing now.
Oh,
the kids shout sick when they see me ride, looking cool as the way I glide. I should know better, I'm 52, but hey, I'm king of
52.
the road.
And I don't look it, do I?
no.
Ian, no, I don't look it. I've got some facial hair.
When did you have? I thought you had your 60th the other day.
Oh yeah, what a friend. Should say we're recording this on the 14th of February, so this is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Our bromance is going well. It is Valentine's Day today. It is. Don't tell me you forgot.
No.
So have you spoilt your dear Amy
Have I got your present? Yep, I've got your present. It's for you, John.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
It's got a bit of hair on it. There it is.
Let's leave it hanging at that so people listening to this just say there it's got some hair.
By the way, he is holding up a chocolate heart wrapped in tin foil before you try and picture what's happening and throw up.
So tell me, what have you got any kind of? You've got a real track record of buying your wife ridiculous Christmas presents and things. What's your best/worst Valentine experience?
I once left it too late to get anything, and I had to use what was at hand, which was toilet paper.
Oh, she's a lucky lady.
So it's the only time I've actually seen her close to being really upset that I'd done so minimal effort. In fact, I think if I just said, "Look, I'm really sorry, I've forgotten," it would have been better. I didn't realise at the time, and that's hindsight for you. I thought, at least I put an effort in, some form of effort in. So I made her a card out of toilet paper.
Oh,
I think I used the. Did I use the inner bit of the card bit and then wrap that up and push it inside that and then give it to her as a present? I can't remember now, but there was a card saying "I love you" on it.
Well, I did pop out to Tesco's today about 6 o'clock, 6:30, and every till there was a queue of desperate-looking men clutching whatever chocolates and flowers were left.
Idiots.
Absolutely, yeah. Anyway, well done. Right, I'm going to play us another jingle. We've not heard this one before because this was it's on the podcast that never was.
All we hear is John's stupid blather, idiot banter, Ian's no better. Unipod, what's new? It's the best that we can do.
This is the best that we can do. There you go. That's the latest jingle. I sound like a proper DJ now. That's the latest hit from Jonathan on the Ian and John's podcast. And actually, Ian. I was thinking that it would be good to open this up, the podcast jingles, open them up to people if they want to contribute. People have sent me ideas of things we could do. What was his name? Will McCoy said do Bohemian Rhapsody. So I have learnt to play Bohemian Rhapsody on the piano. I have not managed to get all the way from beginning to end without making a mistake, and I never make a mistake in the same place twice, which is unusual. But it's about a 5.5 minute song, so I ain't going to do that one, but I might do bits of it.
Can't you do it can't you break it up into pieces?
Yeah, with a hammer. Yeah.
Cut my life into pieces. You could do that one.
But I was thinking, if people want to actually have a go at recording a jingle, they could just sing into the phone and send me an audio file.
This is a recipe for disaster. Have you not watched any of these talent shows that go on TV?
Yeah, but that'd be great.
You got all these people that think they can sing, and
Like
they make the money out of laughing at those people.
Oh yeah, it's like bringing the people out of the asylums, queuing up and pointing them like a zoo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But those are the best episodes. But if people want to send me an audio file of a jingle, gather your loved ones round you, sing into your phone, and then send me an MP3
Can we rate
file.
that jingle and we can roast it, or roast that jingle?
Yeah. So send it to me. You can send it to the podcast email, which is Ian and John podcast. No, yes, Ian and John podcast @gmail.com. Slick.
You know it, don't you?
I know it. All right, we're going to do a new section now. That's a musical talent. A new section. I was trying to come up with a name for this one, and I know we've got listeners, but I'm going to call them readers because it makes it work.
Okay.
So this is for our readers, not listeners, readers.
Readers?
Yeah, it's going to call it Readers' Lives, we're going to call it. This is a bit of an appeal to get people involved in the show on the section every week or every fortnight called Readers' Lives. And I want people to tell us how they use their EUC. Have you got any funny stories? Have you got any disasters? Any epic long rides you've done, or favourite places to go, most unusual crashes, that kind of thing. Any kind of content that we can rip apart and we can have a bit of a dig at and talk about on the show. So, to kick us off with this, again, this is a guy, Jason Harris, all the way from Australia.
Good day, mates. Want to go for a spin in my ute?
They said that twice now. I don't know about you, but my kind of understanding of the culture of Australia is basically brought about by being brought up as a teenager watching Neighbours and Home and Away, that kind of stuff. But Skippy the Bush Kangaroo.
Yeah.
I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and I suppose Rolf Harris. But I don't think we should be judging it on all those things. And also,
judging Australia on that?
Yeah.
No, I think of Australia with the Tesla battery bank.
Oh yeah, no, what was that? Didn't he say that he would do it by a certain time, and if he wasn't going to do it, he'd give it them free?
Yeah, he did it by the time, didn't he? Yeah.
I can feel your energy is waning.
Oh yeah, the fuel tank. I talked about this earlier. Right, go on. Let's get back to it.
So my knowledge of Australia, and also, you know, I remember watching Blue Peter specials, that kind of stuff, where they'd show kids being taught in the outback by radio and having to get small airplanes to get anywhere, that kind of stuff.
What about the guy that got killed by a stingray?
Oh yeah, Steve.
Steve. Come on, what was his surname? Steve. My brain said McQueen, but definitely isn't McQueen.
No, yeah. And his son is now following his footsteps, isn't he?
He is,
And,
yeah. What's his name? Steve.
Steve. Yes, so if you can tell us, Jason Harris, what Steve's surname was. Well, he said this. He was looking for a serious page about EUCs, but all he found was Ian and John's Unipod. But he said, always looking for more creative ways to use my V10F.
Irwin.
And Steve Irwin, that's right. And his Sherman on his farm. To date, I have used my InMotion V10F to move sheep. I'm imagining like Wallace and Gromit. So he's got sheep stacked up on a pyramid, like a motorcycle display team. Also, riding between workshops. That's the thing about Australia. I imagine it's just like vast. Everywhere is just vast in these farms. I remember on Top Gear when they were using vehicles for herding cattle, and it was like this is the size of Wales, this farm, that kind of stuff. So if he's getting around that on his V10, that's good. For fetching tools, moving farm equipment, I also had a fuel issue with my semi-trailer last harvest. Fortunately, I had my V10F. I rode up to an agricultural parts supplier, purchased a replacement fuel filter, rode back and was able to repair it on the side of the road. Without the EUC, I would have had to wait for help. Jason sounds like a real man's man to me.
Sounds like he's always got an electric unicycle with him that saves the day.
Yeah.
Because they are very good.
Do you know, I've started to make sure I've got my M103 with me at all times.
Oh, you got an M103?
Yeah. So I'm planning to take it into London.
Silly money come for that one.
I'm planning to take it into London and in the backpack, and just to take it out and see if I can capture people's expressions as I wobble
Take it
away on
right
this
along.
ridiculous
Yeah.
tiny little wheel. Yeah, so Jason is a proper man's man here. And he said, after all that, the question is, what is the craziest or weirdest legitimate use for an EUC that you guys have heard of?
I have used an electric unicycle to attempt to charge another electric unicycle.
Yeah, I think I
Remember
was there
that?
for that. Yeah.
You were, yeah. It was desperate times, wasn't it? And I was thinking, if you could spin, because they put power in when you spin the motor like a little generator. So we
Yeah.
had your KS18, didn't we? And
Yeah,
I
the
put
18XL.
mine on top or something, wasn't it? And
Let's
tried
just
to
describe
spin
that
the
again,
wheel
probably.
as fast as possible.
We still had about 6 miles to go or something at this point, 5 or 6 miles to go to get back to where our cars were. And mine, you'd swapped out. You'd been on the what would you been on? The M Super or something that you'd been on, and then you swapped out and you're on the Nicola.
Was I?
I think you were, because you swapped out halfway through. Because did the fan go? We were going up, so we were going to go really
MSX.
steep. We were
It
going
got
up
hay
really-
stuck in it. Grass, hay. I think it was either
Yeah.
hay or grass. Got thrown up, went into the fan and bust the fan.
Oh, is that what happened? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because when I unpacked it all, it's some little blade of, sort of like a blade of grass, dead grass I got in there, and a stalk of it, and just
and stopped
jammed
the fan from working.
Yeah, which broke
So it
the
was
fan.
so it was
subsequently.
overheating.
Yeah.
And so we swapped it out again. We did like a figure of 8 trip. We arrived back at the cars and you swapped it out and you got your Nicola and we carried on. But I stayed on the 18XL, and with about 5 or 6 miles to go, it was just becoming to that point of unrideability. It was tipping you back so far you were falling off it. So we stopped at the side of the road, and you had a genius idea. We put my wheel upside down so the tyre was up in the air, and then you put your wheel on top of it, and so the two wheels were contacting.
Yeah.
And then you held it and span it so that both wheels were moving. Your
The
wheel was
issue
powering
is-
mine to spin around.
Couldn't quite control it enough, could we? Because the one I was holding, it really easily maxed out, went and then shut off. It's like, oh, for goodness sake, take it back off again, turn it back on. If you could get a lovely equilibrium and leave it sat there, eventually it would charge, wouldn't it?
But it would. But that right. This thing about wasted energy, because we talked about. I when we did 1,000 mile trip or preparing for those things, I remember saying to you, what about if you were to put like a windmill on your back, like a turbine, so as you're going along, it's generating energy that you would then recharge your wheels. But you said that's waste time, because it's taking that energy to propel forward it would negate itself out.
Correct.
So wouldn't the same be true? I don't know. Would it?
Oh,
would it
no,
work?
we're totally using up all the energy out of my wheel, weren't we? But
Yeah.
the point was I had more than 6 miles left, so if I had 4 miles out of it, it wouldn't have mattered. That was
Did it
the
make any difference
concept.
though?
I don't think. No, it would require too long. It's too little going in.
Well, that's the other thing. Wheel McCoy, I've mentioned him before. He contacted me. He was saying here's a question about riding your wheel to the point of failure. He's saying he's never ridden his EUC to the point where it's tilted back and cut out. And I said to him, well, I would probably recommend that everyone has a go at doing that at some point. They take your wheel,
Brilliant. I want nothing to do with that at all. Distancing myself, just like our friendship. Distancing myself and this podcast.
Would you not agree that? Would you not agree? There's some sense though to going. I'm not saying to completely flat. I'm not saying don't reach so there's nothing left in it, because that's bad for the batteries.
No.
But
No,
taking it to that point of
mental.
20%.
Don't listen to him, everybody. That's just crazy. Right. So the sensible thing would do, if you give it like a moment's thought, would be to set the tilt back at a very low speed. So it acts the same way as going fast. So set it to 10 miles an hour and then go along and get tilted back violently by whatever tilt if it's King song.
But I was thinking more as not just that. I was thinking about what noises the wheel makes to alert you to its situation. Because wheels.
And you're going, I can't hear because the wind noise, it goes so fast.
Yeah, that's true. That was on the EX. I was going so fast that you couldn't hear the beeping noise.
And you're thinking, I've got to keep pushing this because I've got to test my own theory. Nope, still can't hear the alarm. Must be okay.
Because the speaker is at the back of the wheel. So as you're going along, the wind rushing through the helmet. We're doing about 50 kilometres an hour, and the wheels going beep, 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 beep. But the wheels make different noises to tell you different things. So I was suggesting that actually ride it to 20%. It's not going to hurt the battery. And then you know how the wheel is going to behave. You know what to expect. So that when it happens, you're not startled by it. No? You don't agree with me? You think I'm an idiot?
Next. No, I mean, there's Yes and no. I mean, obviously, if you want to know what a face plant's like, then go flat out. Face plant. And go, oh yeah, no, I know what happens now when you do a face plant. Yeah. Well, as you run a battery right until it gets really low and the voltage might suddenly drop and it cuts out. Oh yeah. So you wait to go to hospital for the face plant.
I'm not saying take it to 0%. I'm saying to take it to 20%, or 15%, so you know what your limits of your wheel are. You know,
well, 50, the wheel's not going to act any different unless it's in motion, is it? If it's a Gotway, for example, 50 is going to make no difference.
15.
Gotways now, well, if you're at 10%, you can get a voltage drop, massive voltage drop, especially if you're going up a really steep hill, or the weather's freezing cold and you're going up a steep hill, and it potentially could cut out. It's unlikely.
So, Wheel McCoy, ignore my advice. Don't test your wheel to see what its limits are. So you're not
or follow John's advice and then let us know, did you break your arms or not?
But I would say that rather than heading off and then it taking you by surprise, do it in a controlled way so you know what to expect. So that you can...
Have you not seen my screen name? Because I'm surprised you haven't mentioned it.
Yeah, I have seen that. I've been on it.
Have
you
you?
called yourself at least. We put our names on. It comes up when you're on the screen what your name is. Mine says Jonathan Worley. Yours says at least it's only every other week.
Yeah,
so thanks for that. So another question then about the wheels and the tilting back, right? Because they do tilt you back, and then it limits your speed. So then it'll start saying at 10 miles an hour it'll tilt you back. Then so progressively, until the point where it starts to tilt you back until it's impossible to stand on the foot plates.
No, you just turn it around the other way, don't you?
Well, that is a question. If you turned it the other way and rode it backwards, would it behave exactly the same the other way?
No, the thermo's definitely didn't used to be years ago, did it? But definitely different forwards and back. Yeah. Well, I don't know which wheel it is, but all the wheels I've ridden since it wasn't the same. Yeah. You can, John, you can prove this because what you want to do, turn it around the other way and go flat out and see when you get to maximum. Does it tilt you back the same?
Now, you see, you're twisting my thoughts. I'm not saying take it to low battery and then go flat out. I'm just saying ride it so you know how your wheel is going to behave if you were to ever be in that situation.
In the event of a cutout.
So any other legitimate uses or weird legitimate uses of an EUC you've ever come across? We talked last time about the guy that was base jumping with his. I mean, that's a fairly weird legitimate.
We carried a wardrobe, a buddy bookcase.
We did. That's a great bit of footage. It's only had about 700 views, that video, but that was a good video.
That's it? So that's honestly, is that all it's had?
Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing. That was really painful.
Yeah. So if you've not seen that, go and check it out on my YouTube channel. We just decided to see. I twisted Ian's arm into saying, can we actually go to the local IKEA and purchase a Billy bookcase
where you live, which is 3 hours away from me.
So we rode to the IKEA and to buy a Billy bookcase. When we got to IKEA, you had a different idea of a challenge. Do you want to describe what we did when we got to IKEA? It
was to buy each other a little present. Before that, another challenge. Yes. So I was inspired whilst waiting in a long queue for some food at IKEA, because we've got to eat wherever we go. For some strange reason, we can't even pop out to IKEA without stuff in our faces. It's like any excuse. It's ridiculous. Anyway, there's bays of different types of food, isn't there? Like you've got Dame bars or whatever. No, Dame cake, wasn't it? With a little Dame bar on it, on the plate. Yep. That was like the first thing it greets you. Like, and I had an idea. And a little light bulb, bing. I was like, I got this. And I was like, John, there's bays for each type of food. And there was like 8 of them, something like that.
At least.
Let's have, the rule is we've got to have we've got to have everything that's in each of those bays.
Yep.
So we did. So we got a trolley, got a whole, like a, what do you call it, a maid's trolley, whatever it is. We got one of those. And we started loading up, didn't we?
But then when we got past those bays, we got to where the hot food was being served.
Yep.
And there was the lady there.
Miniature bays within those bays as well, because it was like peas, chips, everything else. Yeah. And John was filming. It went south quite quickly, didn't it? Because it's the first time, actually, I think it's the first and only time I've taken you beyond your limit. Because you were there and you wanted none of it at this point. You were like, I am really embarrassed here, because we actually caused a massive problem with the kitchen. Because this nice, helpful lady was putting things on and splitting up the plates. So I said, all right, don't have to get... Because that's problem number one I hadn't perceived, is that the process there is, when they're pumping out all these thousands of meals each day, is to a fresh plate for each meal. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, don't worry about that. Don't waste. I don't want to have a load of extra work to do. Just put 2 or 3 meals on one plate. She's like, "Oh, are you sure?" Yeah. And then her boss came out
Yeah.
and went, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
You can't do that." And we're like, "Oh no, it's all right because are you filming?"
No.
As he removes the camera like that. And it went horribly wrong, didn't it? And then the kitchen got stopped and everyone sort of stood round and it's like, "Oh my goodness." And then I said, "Look, it's all right." I said, "What we're doing is just buying everything you've got." She goes, "What do you mean?" And then she had to go and talk with the till because all the plates were messed up. Oh, it was embarrassing, wasn't it? But that was brilliant because you were screaming like a good one.
And I ate till my.
And then you felt sick because I had.
After that.
What did I have? Oh, salmon. You didn't like salmon.
We had salmon. We had
You're like,
breaded fish. We had chicken and meatballs and chips and potatoes.
Then you had a moral dilemma, didn't you? You were challenged not only from an embarrassment level, but morally whether it was right to load up and waste so much food.
We didn't waste it. We ate most of it.
Didn't eat the salmon, did you? And I tried to eat it. It was cold, and I felt really sick.
It was like trying to eat the sole off a slipper. That it was.
So anyway, you started injecting some guilt into that about the fact that, is this really the right thing to do? It's a lot of money.
It's all on
It's a
video.
lot of food.
Then before we went to buy the Billy bookcase, we also gave each other a £5 note, and you had to go and buy each other
wasting more money.
Yeah, I didn't care about that. We had to buy each other a gift, not only to take the Billy bookcase, but to transport something back. So we both scattered off into the marketplace in IKEA, and I got really proud of myself because I thought I'd bought something really good. I think I got something.
You bought a brilliant thing for me. It was great.
It was like some plastic things.
Yeah,
to carry,
it's like can't break it, unbreakable, nice shape.
I didn't think
looks around your neck really easily. Yeah.
And I looked up, and you'd got 5 big wine glasses.
£1 each. Makes sense. Nice long stems as well.
And the only way I could get them back was to tie them onto like the
around your neck.
Around my neck on the toggles of my jumper and things. So I was going back, riding back basically with breakable glass all around my throat, which wasn't very sensible. But then we
carrying a bookshelf
Billy bookcase
on your shoulder.
And we tried at one point to see if we could balance the bookcase on the top of the wheel, so you in front, me behind.
On one foot. No, on one. It was it on top of the wheel or the footplate?
Because it was so heavy and so ridiculous. And so we'd have like a mini motorbike or a long, very long motorbike with you on the front wheel and the back.
Yeah, didn't work at all.
Didn't work, did it? Okay, so thank you for that. That's Readers' Lives. I will do a jingle for
Readers' Lives.
So we'll get a Readers' Lives jingle.
I could do that. I could do a jingle.
In the meantime, if you want to be involved in Readers' Lives, then let us know. Email us at ianandjohnpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook as well. We've got a Facebook page there. People are liking that, which is good.
Have we?
Yeah, or just contact on the YouTube channel right in the messages below if
Facebook,
you want to be on
what's
that.
it called? What's it called, the Facebook? I'm going to check how many
Ian
people have
and
been liking
John
it.
Unipod, I think. You've been there before. You've liked it anyway.
Right,
I'm going to play us a jingle now. Here we go.
8 years ago, Ian met John, and many crashes later, where have the years gone? When Ian rides his cool, while John looks like a fool. Ian's jumping logs, oh no, John's fallen off again. 1,000 miles made history, and that explains the mystery of how the Unit podcast all began. Hey!
So we're going to now move on to talk about something that's been in the news. We have a little update of stuff that's going on around the world. Exciting news. You shared a story, Ian, from, I think it was from the Autocar magazine or their website, talking about the UK government are considering a new vehicle classification for e-scooters. Do you want to tell us any more?
No.
Oh, you're back on form. So, I mean, I did look at the article, and it does sound as though it's about time that this is happening, but the government are talking about the potential to form a new classification, or type of classification for EUCs, not for EUCs, for e-scooters. They don't mention EUCs in it, frustratingly.
Oh, don't matter.
Same thing. But it's the first time I've seen an article of that nature where it was written in a positive way. People were really talking about these scooters as a sensible commuting option, a sensible way to get around, talking about the benefits of electric scooters in terms of the environment and freeing up the roads, talking about how the trials, there's 31 trials taking place across the UK, and they've been extended to give some more thinking time. But it sounds like things are moving in the right direction. Quick question, or questions. If they do make a new classification for them, what do you think it's going to look like, or what do you think it might include? Any thoughts? What rules do you think they might apply? So in some countries they've put maximum speed limits on.
Speed's going to be really, really low.
Like
Power output will be really, really low. It'd just be rubbish.
But what will happen is, I guess, that at least we'll have a toe in the door, and then people will.
At least we haven't got wheels coming out that do sort of 60 miles an hour. I mean,
because that would be crazy and dangerous.
Yeah, that would be mental. It'd look really bad, wouldn't it?
Fun, though. I think absolute fun. But they make scooters that'll go faster and faster. That's the truth of it. And they are making scooters. We said it on a show a while ago that they're making scooters that will go 70 miles an hour because they're trying to generate them into a new type of electric vehicle sport and race them around tracks and things. So the technology will improve, they'll get better and better, but it's a step in the right direction. Is this exciting you that we're getting to this stage, or do you think, let's wait and see, or are you thinking actually there'll be a war in the Ukraine and that'll take priority, it'll be a long time before? Keep it light.
Keep it light. So it's a weird correlation there. You sort of.
Well, I just think sometimes the governments get distracted by other things, and this will fall down the pecking order of priorities.
Just get a bottle of wine and some sandwiches and send it to number 10 and say for Boris and put a little note in there. Any chance you could legalise electric unicycles? And he might.
It would be a mistrick, I think, if they didn't include EUCs with this classification process, but I don't think they will, be my view, because with that I think they're quite niche compared to electric scooters.
But the good thing about it is
everywhere.
that most people don't know the difference between them at all. We see distinct differences, like massive void between the two.
Yep.
They just go, oh, it's one of those scooter things. I've had people call it a scooter thing before. It's like, you daft, scooter's got two wheels. But they don't necessarily know that. It's because it's only privy to us because we're so used to being in that world. So, if they said, oh, it's legal and you can go 30 miles an hour, I don't think you'd have any problem riding electric unicycles around at all.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd ever do it. They'd say, people would start calling them scooters, wouldn't they?
Yeah. But as long as the restrictions around them don't become so inhibiting. But I think if they get them legalised and say, well, max the speed to 15 miles an hour or 16 miles an hour or whatever, then there'll always be people that break that. We'll always be going at, we were riding at 55 kilometres an hour the other day across Wales, and it was, perfectly fine, perfectly safe.
Yeah. Well, there was no one around, really, was there? And apart from, I suppose, we'll come back and talk of any.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah. So exciting time. So we'll keep you posted on that, see what develops with that, but it could be some time. Right, I'm aware of the time, Ian, so I'm going to play
What time's
this
up,
next...
innit? How long are we supposed to
I have
run
no idea.
for?
No idea.
42 minutes we've been running so far. So
okay. Yeah. Well, we haven't, because the first 10 minutes of that, it was I pressed record and you made me look up some guy called Cartnark or
yes,
something
you need to check
on
out
YouTube.
Cartnarks. Yeah.
It does look quite funny. What is Cartnarks?
On Facebook. Look him up on Facebook.
I was on YouTube, found him.
He goes around and making sure people put their shopping trolleys back, or carts as they call them in the US. And he's agent, whatever it is, from Cartnarks. It's very funny.
Get into arguments with people in public car
There you
parks.
go. I tell you what, shows you the level that people are at when you can't even have a polite conversation. You have to get out and start effing and blind and threaten to kill people. He's had guns pulled on him.
Wow. Just because people are not putting the shopping trolleys away.
He just says, "Is there any chance you can put your shopping trolley back?" And they start going mental. Yeah. It's like that. Yeah. It's exactly like
Welcome to America, folks. Right, it's time for this.
What is
Time
it?
to challenge Ian.
What are we doing next?
You can play along.
What do you reckon we'll be doing?
Starting after this stupid little song.
So for regular listeners, this is the highlight of the show. This is where I put Ian under a bit of a microscope, test him with his knowledge on certain things. And for the last few weeks, I've been giving him choices between... Last time it was Flower Power. Was it a flower or was it a character from Austin Powers? Before we've had snowballs, that kind of stuff, or pantomime horses we've had to choose between. I'm taking it in an entirely different direction this time. So I have had the opportunity to speak to people that know you, maybe even better than I know you, and I've asked them some questions and they've given me their answers. Now I'm going to ask you the same questions that I've asked them, and I'm going to see how well you know those people by predicting their answers.
No, because it's flawed from the start.
What do you mean it's flawed from the start?
You've asked some questions about me.
Yeah.
You've asked them about questions about me.
Yeah.
Well, I know myself better than them.
Yeah.
So they could answer incorrectly.
Yeah, but you've got to answer what you think they would answer about you. So
I've got to answer what
they
they think they would know about me or say about me.
Yeah, you've got it. Right. So the first one is...
Flawed.
I have spoken to your wife, Amy, and I've asked her a question about what she would think is your worst fashion faux pas. What is the thing, your fashion disaster, your
Hair.
clothing disaster?
Has it got to be
Think
clothing?
about this carefully. It's got to be. Where's your clothing?
It's got to be clothing. It's
disaster?
not hair then, because my hair is a disaster. It's like a tramp.
So,
I had it cut.
I-
It cost 18 quid. Had it cut on Saturday. 18 18.
£18 a year for you, though. That's. I mean, that's. Well,
Yeah,
is that 'cause
that's
it's
every
not-
2 years, every 24 months.
I did see you on Sunday online, and
Did you
I
think
did notice,
his hair is sharp?
I thought you've you had your head sharpened. It was
Yeah, like a pencil.
Yeah.
Tip me out.
Yeah.
Zzz. Yeah.
Anyway, it looks very smart. But yeah, so your fashion faux pas, you got to think what you think that your wife would have thought was your worst, and you're a man of real style, and your clothing choices are
I put a
So-
lot into my clothing choices.
yeah. So what do you think your wife thinks is your worst fashion mistake?
But it's not hair then.
So you think she'd say your hair is your worst fashion mistake?
Yeah, I would have thought so. But it's,
Let's just see what she said, okay?
He went to a funeral wearing a yellow
I did.
Father Christmas t-shirt. He thought everyone was going to wear bright colours, and they didn't. It was a minion one.
there's a minion Father Christmas. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, there is some
So let's
context behind that.
let's hear the story. You went to a funeral wearing
went to a funeral.
minion jumper.
Yeah, I went to the funeral wearing a minion jumper because the guy that attended the funeral, because he was dead, the funeral was for,
He had to be there.
loved yellow. Absolutely loved yellow.
Yeah.
On the instructions to attire, it said basically along the lines of, see it sometimes, you don't wear miserable clothing, basically. Don't
Yeah.
wear all black.
So you
black.
went as a minion to a
So, so I thought, what have I got? I had a bright yellow minion top. It happened to be a Father Christmas minion as well. And when I turned up, I got slightly worried as I'm walking up with Amy. I said, no one is wearing yellow at all. They're all wearing suits. I was like, well, nothing I could do now with travel here. So I think after his son said, oh, you really took that to... But he did say his dad would have absolutely loved that. So I was getting loads of looks. But he said his dad would have absolutely loved it. So I thought, oh, fair enough. That's made up for that. I was happy. I was quite proud of myself then. Not backing out. Not being a chicken like everyone else.
Okay, right, next one. This is a conversation I was fortunate enough to have with your daughter. Ruby, how old is Ruby?
Yep.
How old is she? Father of the year.
She's 8, I believe.
All right, God.
You put me on the spot there.
Valentine's Day.
It's late, isn't it? It's late. It's yeah. It's late.
Well, she
That's what it
aged
is.
while we've been in here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I asked this question. I asked her, what is the most embarrassing thing that Daddy's ever done? So what does Daddy do to embarrass her? And this is probably a rich vein of topics.
Oh yeah, this is like if you just opened a mining operation and you knew there was a huge amount of mineral there.
What
So this
is-
could be. I mean, it's like Amy's comment. It could be anything. It's like these are impossible to guess. I mean, only thing I can think of is she asked me. I said, "What do you want for your birthday?" And she said, "Put on a jester's hat."
Mm-hmm.
Which is, you've seen that very jester's hat.
I've worn it.
You've worn it many a time, and that needs some explanation as well, because that sounds really strange. But she said, "Can you wear it to school in front of everybody? Take me to school." But that's her wanting to be embarrassed, and
So
so I
why
did.
did-
I wore it, and I skipped down all the
Skipped
way down to the school. Yeah, and it was jingling, and didn't explain it, and everyone just stared at me.
I must admit, when I asked her this question, she did pause for a long time, and you could see she was clearly thinking through. She was going through
Yeah,
a
all the
Rolodex and a file.
I'm trying to
in her
think
head.
what else I could have done to embarrass her.
Let's just
That's
explain
a
the
lot.
jester's hat. So, did you buy the jester's hat for her?
I
was
can't
it for-
remember. I
or was-
think
or
it
was
was
it
for our
just a
tea game.
coincidence?
Yeah, I think it was. Yes, it was. It was for the tea game because she then saw it and said, "Can you wear that for my birthday?"
Yeah. So, just to explain that, we've got into a crazy habit, a ritual, a routine. When we have a cup of tea, we have to, these are the rules, we have to have a competition to see who can throw a tea bag from behind your back, from right hand behind your back, over your left shoulder, across probably about a 6 foot, 7 foot gap into the teacup, and we have to do that until you get it in.
No bouncings, no on the edge of cups. It's got to go straight in.
It's got to go straight in.
Straight in.
And this has been going on for several years now. I've been doing this game,
And you can't change the tea bag, and you have to. And it sounds if you haven't never played it, it wouldn't mean anything to you to use the same tea bag. But once you've been playing it for an hour, and it's gone in some shoes, it's gone on the dog bowl, it's got underneath the washing machine, across the top of the washing machine, in the hall, it's gone everywhere. It looks disgusting. The rule is that you have to make your cup of tea with that. Other rule, what goes into the rules? Boil the kettle.
You boil the kettle as you start the first throw. You
start the first throw. The game starts at the boil the kettle, isn't it? Yeah. The aim is to get it in before the kettle finishes boiling. Yeah. Can the kettle be reboiled, Jonathan?
No. Once the kettle is boiled,
Correct.
it can't be reboiled. So if it takes you 2 minutes to get it in, fine, you get a nice hot cup of tea. If it takes you 20 minutes to get it in, you get a.
What if it's mental? It took like an hour and 5 minutes, for example, like the longest.
You're getting a stone cold cup of tea.
What's the longest you've ever played it, Jonathan? Hint, hint.
It was about an hour and 5 minutes, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
But the other rule is that whoever gets it in first, they can then.
They become what?
They become the king of the game.
The king, correct.
The king. They sit on a little stool having a
king's
cup of
what?
tea. King's throne.
Yeah.
And they have their cup of tea watching
52 you said you are, didn't
you? Watching the loser continue to throw the tea bag. And you ramped it up a bit further because we'd invented this king's throne part to the game. You bought a jester's hat. And I've spent many an hour with a jester's
wearing
hat
a jester's hat. He's got little bells on it. Jangling around, entertaining the king. And I get there to sit there and sip my tea.
Because 9 times out of 10 you beat me at the game. And you
have beaten me before, haven't you?
I have, yeah. Okay,
that felt bad. Yeah.
Right, so that wasn't that wasn't this challenge, Ian. Challenge Ian.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Have you embarrassed Ruby? What do you think she said?
Well, that jester's hat one is the only one I can think of, really.
Okay, right.
There's loads.
Let's hear what she said.
Floppy Daddy!
I'm just going to pause it there.
Yeah. What did she say for number one?
Well, she's your daughter, so I'm hoping. I'm going to play it again, see if you can see what she said.
Slow down a little bit.
Floppy Daddy!
She said Blobby Daddy. I'm going to play the whole thing.
Blobby Daddy, yes, that was the thing.
Blobby Daddy.
Yeah.
What's Blobby Daddy?
Well, it also embarrassed me. When Jacob was at Little Dean Primary School, his friend Freya, she'd be in the park waiting for him whilst he was walking down, and Daddy would embarrass him by going, Blobby Daddy!
Should you explain yourself, sir?
Yeah, it involved a bit of skipping then as well. Jacob obviously didn't want to be embarrassed in front of all his friends.
Yeah.
And they don't know Mr. Blobby. And perhaps many of our listeners don't. Many of the listener doesn't.
Both our listeners don't.
Yeah, they don't know about Mr. Blobby. But Mr. Blobby's good. Blobby! 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 Blobby!
He's a TV character,
Entertained many adults. And I became them, but Blobby Daddy. And so I'd be as loud and as boisterous as Mr. Blobby and act like him. If you don't know who he is, go look him up. So I'd act like him. And then walk them down to school doing that. And they're like, shut up, shut up. And of course that encouraged me. And I was like, Blobby, Blobby, Blobby Daddy. And of course no one know what you're talking about.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, that's it. That's it for this time, Ian. You've failed Challenge Ian. You got them both wrong.
Yeah,
but let's see what happens on Challenge Ian next time we're together. Did you enjoy that? It was different, wasn't it?
It was different, yeah. It was.
Right, we're going to move on to the end of the show. People will be sad to know. Let's play another jingle.
We're only an hour in.
Unipod is the Unipod
But
review.
John,
Get back.
Ian and John,
Get back.
Ian and John,
It's the Unipod
yeah,
review.
Ian and John, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, Ian, so while we wrap up, just coming towards the end, let's just think about what you're doing this...
Rap.
Rave on. What are you doing this week? Anything exciting? Got any filming you're doing? Any
No.
new drones coming into stock? Anything like that?
Yes, got the Skydio Plus coming
Did you
in.
get it? When's it coming in?
Yeah, should have been in last week. Shipment didn't leave. It's coming in with some of the paintball stuff.
Awesome.
And then it should have been in Monday. Not in Monday, because it didn't arrive today. And then we got an email at about 7 o'clock saying, oh, that shipment. No, that's still in our warehouse. I wrote back going, the really urgent shipment that It's not still in your warehouse in the United States of America, is it? It is. Yes, it is. That's what it is. Yes.
And are they going to charge you for the pleasure of keeping
They'll
it
probably say,
warehouse?
"Well, it's been stored in the warehouse over the weekend." What? That's what usually happens. So we've got the Skydio Plus coming in. Skydio 2 Plus with the new beacon as well. The beacon. And new battery. 27-minute flight times. And it's got extended range, essentially. But if anybody wants a Skydio 2, I mean, John's got first dibs on it, but he's a bit slow on the old uptake. I've got a basically brand new Skydio 2 because I bought two and thinking we use both. We only ever really use one. So I've got Skydio 2 up. I don't really want three. I've actually got four Skydios. In fact, I've got Skydio R1, Skydio 2, Skydio 2, Skydio 2 Plus.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to do a shot of having the drone be filmed by a drone being filmed by a drone.
And now filmed by a drone.
Yeah.
Because 4 of them. But we did that with 2 of them, if not 3 of them. And then we watched the footage back. It was a massively close miss. Which resulted in disaster. We're like, not doing that again. They literally did not see each other. So, yeah.
All right. Somebody just actually followed me on my YouTube and on Instagram, and he is an FPV pilot by the look of it, so I'm going to have a little chat with him. He put a sort of comment on my YouTube telling me I should use ND filters on the GoPro to improve the picture quality.
Yeah. And you need to improve the sound quality as well. Oh.
Yeah. But we'll get to all that. I'm just this amateur bloke that's having a bit of a laugh, but I would like to make it more professional. But he's got some FPV footage which looks proper mint, so I'm going to
they would be not advocates of the Skydio 2, I wouldn't have thought.
No, but there we go. Me, what am I doing? Thanks for asking. I'm going to be doing. I'm going to do my own review of the V12.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll do that. I'm going to rack the miles on the V12.
Are you?
Get that? Yeah. Get that sorted out.
Big time. Big time.
I say I'm going to take the M10 onto a train and a rucksack. Yeah. I was also thinking about doing a series of short YouTube videos.
Yeah, the shorter the better, to be honest.
A bit of an idiot's guide to EUCing.
You're on to a winner there straight away.
So, for listeners, the thing is, what the kind of stuff that you wish that you'd known from the get-go, from the start, even before you bought one, is there stuff that you wish you knew? Let me know. Contact us, let us know, and I can maybe include that in the videos as well. Kind of advice that you wish you could go back and give your younger self about EUCs. So from everything, from the ground up, what it is, what it does, what you can do with it, what you can't do with it. How to look after it, how not to fall off it.
I was just thinking that's what happens shortly after getting your first EUC, isn't it?
Well, that's it. You get your first EUC.
So you've had your first crash. What now? From the Ground Up by Jonathan Worley.
Yeah, you've just spent a lot of money on this, and now it's all scratched on the floor. Good. Okay. Ian, thank you so much. That has been a wonderful episode. I shall look forward to spending hours editing that and uploading it onto YouTube. And I will look forward to
actually recorded it?
I think so. I've just checked on my voice. That's recorded. I've got the audio there for sure. That's been going for 52 minutes of this nonsense. If people have made it to the end, then well done. We appreciate your support. In the meantime, we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Contact us at ianandjohnpodcast@gmail.com. Get involved with the show. Send us your stuff for Readers' Lives. Send us your jingles. We'd love to hear some jingles from you. That's it for this time. Thank you, folks. I'm going to play a jingle as we go out.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
What?
Let's play. Have you got a request for the jingles?
Yes. Challenge Annika. Challenge Annika. We need that Challenge Annika theme tune in there for the challenge.
It's really complicated.
Yeah, but you're an intelligent man. What podcast is this?
Is this?
Yeah, what number? Because I want to name the audio file.
This is number 13.
Number 13.
Brilliant. It's good fun. Right, I'm going to play some. I'm going to go. Bye, folks. Thanks for listening.
Right, it's that then, is it? It's like that. I would stay on longer, but obviously doesn't like doing the podcast. It's a bit sad, isn't it? I actually quite enjoy doing it, but he just wants to end it. He's going to end it here. Look. He's even started the end jingle in the middle of the conversation. I'll carry on. He's probably listening. So thanks everybody for joining. Brilliant.
Don't forget to upload.
It's all about John. It's all about John.
Cheers, mate.
Love you. Bye.
Love you,
See you. Bye. Bye.